Welcome to Center Heist Productions. Please hit the likes and subscribe down below in your right hand corner. Muchly appreciate that. Thank you to my subscribers and followers. And if you could share it with your friends and family, that would be great. Helps the channel to grow, and we have a good, healthy community here as we take great pride in building a channel that respects one another's opinions, and at the same token, we do not focus on gossip, for as it doesn't transpire, it's usually just a talking point that is a bunch of hogwash. So we don't do it. We try to avoid it at all costs. And we don't use clickbait to get you here. And today is the trade deadline. Well, actually, it was yesterday. I'm doing the tape a day later. Yesterday was the trade deadline before this Anaheim uh, review. And this is what I'm talking about with BS gossip. People keep wanting to talk about a bunch of nonsense just to get a tape done and get the likes. When does the point come that you want to focus on the truth and avoid just gossip? Come on. I just don't get it. I don't know why some people focus on making up a bunch of hogwash and rolling with it when they have no proof. Stop. We just don't appreciate that here, and we take great pride that we don't do it. So let's get into it. What happened yesterday? No trades by the Habs, which I'm not at all surprised. It would have been nice to get that forward. However, I figured the only guy that I was hearing, and it was all rumors, that was the problem. So I don't know if there's any truth to it. That's why I said the only name that interested me was Robert Thomas. That you would that would have been the only guy I would have been interested in. However, I would assume from the looks of it, the costs were probably far too high, and I'm pretty glad that Hughes and Gordon stayed pat, and weren't going to be taken for a ride to have to overpay for one of these guys. Now, however, do I think this is going to be problematic? Yeah, I do. Sometimes you can't pay for it, and that's just the way it has to roll. When we're in that edge and we're losing ground now, this is the scary part because there's some big teams like Buffalo, Detroit, Ottawa, the Islanders, who got in on the trade deadline and made some very big moves. Um, so I don't know. They were willing to pay, and they got some deals done, and some of those deals, and the same thing with Carlson going from Washington. I believe he went to Anaheim, I think. Anywho, that was massive. However, I wouldn't have paid the price for him. So good on Anaheim because they got a big young squad. But I'm glad we didn't. I think Montreal probably had no choice because the costs were too high. They'll have to wait till the summer. Now, my concern is I got a bad feeling, as well as we have done this season point wise in the standings, everybody else around us is doing just as well. And this has been a nightmare, this Eastern Conference. I have a bad feeling we're going to miss the playoffs the way we're playing. So, anyway, let's get to it. Let's get to the Anaheim game. Let's talk about it. Another heartbreaker. Montreal loses 6-5. And, like I said, that's why I thought that San Jose game was critical. We blew it, and we blow this one too. There's a lot to talk about. At least it was a close game in some ways. Okay, let's get to it. 2-2 in the first period. Anaheim adds one in the second, and then Montreal gets three in the third, and Anaheim gets two, and Anaheim ended up coming back to tie that in the last, 50 seconds, around that approximation, to score a tying goal. That's the problem with us. We can't seem to close there's an awful lot of I've said it again and again. The defensive play needs to be cleaned up. We got defensemen like Mike Matheson, and yes, to me, he's been our top defenseman this year. But when you got him and Dobson and they're standing in front and a shot comes from the point, you got to start tying guys' sticks up, and these guys don't do it. Sticks, no wonder Krieder gets the tip in. Anyway, they end up, and then we get a shootout winner in overtime, and it ends up 6-5 for Anaheim. This is becoming critical ground. Montreal's losing with Buffalo making big pickups in the trade deadline. Columbus, right back there, right behind us too. There's too many teams, and I honestly think you know how you're on that line. There's several team on that line of being in the wild card. I think we locked in last year. I think this year somebody else takes that spot because I just do not like what I'm seeing from the Habs right now. And it's not a knock against them. They've done better point wise, so they have moved up. Just happens to be there's 4 or 5 other teams that are doing the same damn thing, and with Boston on our heels as well. Uh, there's just too much heat, and we're losing at the wrong time. We came back from that Olympic break not on the right track. So anyway, that's how that went. Let's get right down to it, down to the dirty. Um, Sad how we're doing this right now, but it is what it is. Let's see if I can get more info on this game for you. All right, so I gave you that. Now let's go to team stats. All right, we had 33 shots to 28 in favor of Anaheim, 21 to 17 hits in favor of Montreal. Um, Face-offs 33 to 27 in favor of Montreal. Face-off winning percentage 55% to 45 for Montreal. Power play opportunities 4 to 2. Montreal power play goals 1 apiece. Montreal's got to improve this power play. For the potency they have, I'm not totally thrilled with them the way they're cashing in. Power play percentage 25% for Montreal, 50%. Anaheim's has been better than us. It shows in the game as well. Total penalties 4 to 2 for Anaheim. Penalty minutes 8 to 4 for Anaheim. Block shots 15 to 12 for Montreal. Takeaways 4 to 3 for Anaheim. Giveaways 17-15 for Montreal. So that's that portion. Then we'll give you. Here we go. Break down the scoring for you. All right, Leo Carlson looked beautiful. All right, first period, the goal scoring starts at 39 seconds. Didn't take long, and you get Leo Gauthier scoring a beauty with a nice pass from Leo Carlson and Chris Krieder. This trio is got some serious chemistry happening to it, and Montreal responds at 101 with having Slavkovsky back on the first line. I think this is a mistake. Personally, I think that second line is going to go to crap. I honestly do. I just do not think Kirby Doc can do what Slav brings to that second line, and I think you need to keep it that way. Even though Slav can play on both lines, I get it. I just think you're going to have to stick with. You got to bite the bullet, and you're going to probably have to stick with Doc on the first line. My opinion, and I think this backfires because of that. All right, so anyway, we get a goal from Nick Suzuki at 101. Nice shot. With a beautiful pinch on the boards by Slavkovsky up to Caulfield. Caulfield makes no mistake with a pass right into the slot, and then Suzuki wires it home. 3:33, Lane Hudson gets a nice power play goal, assisted by Slavkovsky once again and Nick Suzuki. And this looked like it took a bit of a deflection in front of the net off the defenseman, so we'll take it. Either way, great goal. Good to see Hudson score again. Love seeing that. But as soon as we say that, 11:56, we get this bomb from the point from Gudis, and this is one of these goals that I'm looking at Marshmallow Man, and I'm thinking, how the hell does that go through you? Long slap shots, and there's a few of them in this game, and I don't see how it's getting by Montembeau. And he does this. He does play better in this game than Dobish did the previous game. But however, every other game, Dobish has played better. But he does play better, but he always lets 2 or 3 goals that are very questionable that he should have had. I don't get that goal. He should have had it. It looked like he got just holes all over him, assisted by Voltrano, and Ryan Palin looks good over there in Anaheim. Looks like they made a good pickup there. And that was at 11:56. So then you got yourself a nice tie game. 2-2 going into the second, where we get 12:15. Lacombe scores on the power play, assisted by Gauthier and Kreider. What the heck is new? They go up 3-2. That's how it ends the second period. Then we get 35 seconds in. Leo Carlson, who was on fire, Kreider and Truba. That Carlson and Krieder look good together. So it's 4-2 Anaheim. Montreal manages to fight back. 8:41. Caulfield gets a nice shot off as it was dropped from Dobson, and Lane Hudson made the first pass to Dobson, and Dobson drops it, and Caulfield just wires it home. Great shot that closes us in within one, and then at 11:47, what a great goal as the puck um, gets shot. Pass back by Jake Evans, assisted by Balduke, and Alexander Kyrie knocks it out of the air, puts it down, and wires it home to tie the score. Great goal. Then we get at 13:04, great Cole Caulfield goal, and he gets a nice beauty, and assisted by Noah Dobson and Lane Hudson. And what more could you say? That put Montreal ahead. This is where we should have had it. We should be able to seal the deal, and we can't because two defensemen, our first pairing defensemen, our two best defensemen, don't take the sticks away. And it's such a simple concept. And, you know, that's where we have our issues. Our defense not doing, and the forwards are included in this, not covering their men. This has been happening a lot for the forwards dropping back and just watching guys skate in. So we got a little bit of, and I say we got major defensive woes in our defensive strategy. I don't like it whatsoever. Anyway, so we 1918, we just 40 seconds away, you can't shut that down. Kreider gets the great deflection in front of the net because Matheson does not tie his stick up. It's just by Truba and Lacombe. Now Matheson, did a lot of good offensively, but these guys got to, I don't care how damn good you are offensively, if you can't do your job in your position, uh, they're hurting us. Something's got to give. Montreal, and I don't blame it on the individual defenseman. I'm blaming it on our defensive system. I just don't think this is working. And I think we need to get somebody better in that department. And I'm sorry, we need a higher quality to find a system that works because the youth movement thing does not wash for me anymore. These guys have been around a bit now. It's just not washing. Yes, there's still some time for a little bit of development. Yes, but these guys have been around long enough that if this is the forwards as well. It's all falling. And like I say, so it's not just the defenseman; it's the forwards too. But in that particular play was defenseman. And again, like I say, there's goals going in, early on blocker, and trapper sides and through the pads, finding the 5 hole on Monty. Certain goals, you're not understanding. He's marshmallow. And I'm sorry, yes, he was better in this game than Dobish was the previous game, but that's the only time he's outplayed Dobish. And however, it still wasn't pretty. Still wasn't pretty. So we're not getting it from the goaltending. We're not getting it from our defensive play. There's no end of it. Now I'm going to talk about something more. So again, no trades happened because Montreal was unwilling and I don't to mortgage things for the future. And I don't have a problem with that. But I do have a problem with, it would have been nice to get a Robert Thomas. However, evidently, maybe you have to wait till the summer for something like that. I don't know. But it's evident we're going to have to try to make a push for the playoffs. I don't see us getting in. I think we're just going to miss. And I think, you got about 4 or 5 teams there that are fighting for those wild cards, and we're losing ground. We're just losing at the wrong time. We haven't been as sharp since the Olympic break. Our goaltenders have got to pull it together, but our defensive system is struggling. And then what I mean by that is all 5 players on the ice. We're trying to play fire wagon hockey, and we're forgetting about defense. Absolutely, we're not shutting down the neutral zone, and we're totally just like we're lost out there when we're playing. We're not covering our men, and losing our men, and not picking up our men as the forwards come in. So it's a hot mess, and I just think you got to get somebody more qualified that knows how to implement a better defensive system for the Habs. I love Marty, but I do not like I haven't liked it in this regime. The defensive system, haven't liked it since it's been implemented. Anyway, so that being said, Anaheim beats us again. Here's another young team, and these are two teams that looks like we're going to have problems with in the future once we juice up. Are they these teams pulling ahead of us in the rebuilds? Kind of look like it. I don't know. However, we got one or two pieces that haven't arrived yet, like Hage, so that could maybe turn things. We got to find a stay-at-home defenseman though. There's no end if some buts. We need a right defenseman that's a stay-at-home defenseman. Got to get something, some size and sturdy, a banger, a tough cookie that stays at home and smacks people around. Now, I want to talk about Gooley has not looked the same, and I'm not impressed with his play since he's been back. He's, for me, not had his man. Again, when you look at a case of not having the stick and he loses his man, Gooley just does not look the same. And I know that's a massively hard injury he just came back from with that surgery. Um, he just doesn't look the same. And maybe it's because, I don't know if it's because he's backing off, because he knows he's been glass. I don't know, but this doesn't look like the same Caden Gooley to me. So I don't know. They're going to have to start looking at that defense. The defensive picture is not the prettiest overall for the future. They got some work to do with that. And I don't care what we say. There's no way of avoiding it. We got to size up. And once again, Krieder is a Habs killer, and I don't know why somebody just doesn't start putting the body onto this guy. You know what he's done to us over time. You've seen what he did to Price, and he's always a threat. He's a good hockey player. We should have drafted him. That was a missed draft on that one. Um, is what it is. However, so that is it. We have LA next, and we don't have, of recent years, we have not had good success, so I expect that to be a loss. Not even close. Something's going to have to give. Montreal's going to lose ground. I think they're going to miss the playoffs, even though they've increased points. I think the problem is so have four or five other teams, and they made some serious. Buffalo's made some serious moves in the trade deadline. Ottawa added theirs. Detroit added Perron again. We've seen Boston made a move. A lot of those teams, Columbus, and they've all made. And the Islanders made some good moves. So we got a lot of teams that are in that pile. And to me, there's no way that two or three of them can't pass us. I don't see the Habs making the playoffs. Hope I'm proven wrong. Doesn't mean that we had a uh, unsuccessful season. It just means that because we did manage to put our numbers higher. Just means that we just didn't manage to outplay the Eastern Conference opposition when we need those game. You need those in conference games. You got to win them, and we haven't done so well in that department overall, in my opinion. Uh, it's going to cost us. And then you go on that California trip, and you're pretty much looks like we're going to lose all three games. Not looking positive. I mean, you got 20, what about 21, 22 games left? It's not looking pretty. I hope for the best. Go Habs, go. That is it. I will be back with a review of the Montreal LA game. I believe I don't think it's tonight. I think it's Sunday. Anyway, thank you for watching. And I gave you your update on the trade deadline. I think the Habs did what they had to do, avoided overpaying. I think they chose to. Let's hope they make a serious move though in the summer, because there's a couple things they got to get it. That number top six player, whether it's center, winger seems to be what we need more so. But either way, whether it be a center or a winger, it wouldn't matter. They need a top to get that top six player. Let's hope they do it over the summer. Maybe it's even in the draft and they make a trade. I don't know. But right now, seem to be shooting themselves in the foot. That's what I see. Thanks for watching. You've seen it here at Center Heights Productions.